Hello everyone. In this video, we will study about uniformly accelerated motion in one dimension. Here, we can see that elephant is falling under gravity. This is an example of uniform acceleration where acceleration a equal to 9.81 at every point. But velocity is continuously increasing. At uppermost position, velocity is 0, then it becomes 5 meter per second, and subsequently it becomes 10 meter per second when elephant reaches the ground. In second example, box is attached with spring and it is oscillating. Here you can see that velocity is varying and acceleration is also varying. That means this is not the case of uniform acceleration. Remember, in uniform acceleration, change in velocity is constant. And if speed is increasing, it will keep increasing. Here in this example, we can see speed is increasing and it will keep increasing until the moment acceleration is constant. And similarly, if speed is decreasing, it will keep decreasing. Here is the definition for acceleration, that is rate of change of velocity, and acceleration is a vector quantity. To find out the acceleration, we can use this formula, that is acceleration equal to v2 minus v1 divided by time, that is change in velocity divided by time. There is another definition for acceleration, or by using derivative concept we can also find out the acceleration. But this particular concept is not the part of this video. We will study this later. Here we can see car is accelerating, that is why the speed will keep increasing from x to y. If suppose acceleration is 10 meter per second square, initially velocity is 0. After 1 second time, velocity will become 10 meter per second. After 2 seconds, velocity will become 20 meter per second, and so on. Similarly, if acceleration is 5 meter per second square, initially time is at time t equal to 0, velocity is 0. Subsequently, velocity will increase in the multiple of 5, that is 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. Similarly, if acceleration is 7 meter per second square, the velocity will increase in the multiple of 7, that is 7, 14, 21, 28. That means here change in velocity is constant in every case. If you look into the formula again, acceleration is equal to v2 minus v1 divided by t, and this can be simplified to write about v2, that is v2 equal to v1 plus at. So this particular equation is known as equation of motion, first equation of motion. Similarly, you should remember two more equations. Those are also known as equations of motion, that is v square equal to v0 square plus 2ax and x equal to v0t plus half of at square. We will study derivations of these equations later. We will directly see the use of these equations by solving few examples. A boy standing at the top of a tower of 20 meter height drops a stone. Let us see the animation for this. Boy standing on the top of the tower, he drops a stone. Assuming g equal to 10 meter per second square, the velocity with which it hits the ground is, that means from the statement we know initial velocity is 0, the height of the tower is 20 meters, and acceleration due to gravity a equal to 10 meter per second square. And we need to find out what is the velocity when the ball reaches at the ground. To find out final velocity, the suitable equation for given conditions is the second equation of motion. Here in this we can see V0 is known to us, acceleration is known, and distance is also known. That means we can use this second equation of motion. Using this equation, now we will put all the known values in this equation to find out the final velocity. So, putting V0 equal to 0, acceleration equal to 10 and x equal to 20, that is distance or height of the tower. So, here we can do the calculation. V square will be equal to 400 and final velocity will be equal to 20 meter per second. A ball is thrown vertically upward. It has a speed of 10 meter per second when it has reached 1/2 of its maximum height. How high does a ball rise? 4 options are given. We need to find out what is the total height that is achieved by the ball. Here we see the animation for this problem. Ball is going vertically up. So in this case, the speed when it reaches at the half is given. That means at this particular position, the total velocity of the ball is given and acceleration is also given. From the statement we can understand that we need to find out the total height of the ball at which it will reach, and also final velocity for the ball will be 0 because at the topmost position ball will become steady for a fraction. And we can find out x by calculating this half distance, that is x1. So to find out x1, we know initial velocity and final velocity, and acceleration for the motion is also known. So looking at these available values, we can use second equation of motion. So writing the second equation of motion, here we can see that only x1 is unknown, acceleration is known to us, initial velocity is known to us, and final velocity is also known to us, that is 0. So putting the values, final velocity 0, initial velocity 10, acceleration is upwards, that is why it is taken as minus 10, or it is deceleration actually. The decelerating values are taken as minus. So putting acceleration equal to minus 10 and x1 will be equal to that we need to find out. So calculating this, we will arrive at minus 100 equal to minus 20 x1, and x1 will be equal to 5 meters. So the half of the distance is x1, that is 5 meters. So total distance will be x equal to 2x1, and that will be equal to 10 meters. So the correct answer is option A, that is 10 meters. A particle moves in a straight line with a constant acceleration. It changes its velocity from 10 meter per second to 20 meter per second while passing through a distance of 135 meter in t seconds. The value of t is, 4 options are given, we need to find the answer for t. So here we can see the animation for this example. The velocity of the ball is increasing from 10 meter per second to 20 meter per second through a distance of 135 meters, and we need to find out time for this. Here from equation of motions we can see that the equations of motions which are including time factor also includes the acceleration, and we don't know the acceleration. That is why we cannot directly use these two equations to find out the time, because acceleration is not known to us. So by using second equation of motion, we can find out the acceleration first, because in this equation only acceleration is unknown to us, and we know final velocity, initial velocity and distance also. So by using second equation of motion, we can find out the acceleration. So let us use it. Here second equation of motion is written, motion, that is final velocity is 20 meter per second here, initial velocity is 10 meter per second here, plus 2 into acceleration into x is 135, that is the total distance. By solving this equation, we can see 20 square equal to 400, 10 square equal to 100 plus 270 acceleration, and acceleration will be equal to 300 by 270. We will put this value as it is. For calculating the time, we need to find out time. So using this value in first equation of motion, here putting all the values, final velocity is 20 meter per second, initial velocity is 10 meter per second, acceleration that we have calculated now is 300 by 270 multiplied by time. Now if you solve this equation, you will get time t equal to 9 seconds. That means option B is correct. A ball is dropped from a high-rise platform at t equal to 0 starting from rest. Let us see in animation. From high-rise platform, one ball is dropped, and after 6 seconds another ball is dropped. Here we can see after 6 seconds another ball is dropped. Another ball is thrown. That means one ball is dropped and another ball is thrown. The ball which is dropped will have initial velocity v equal to 0, and the ball which is thrown with initial velocity v will have initial velocity equal to v. First ball will take 18 seconds to reach at the bottom, and because second ball is dropped after 6 seconds, the second ball will take only 12 seconds. Here we can see time for second ball will be 12 seconds, and the initial velocity is v. So now we know the inputs for or the values for both the motions, but we need to find out the value for initial velocity of the second ball, that is v. So in this case we can observe that the distance travelled by both the balls is equal. Both the balls have started from this position and reached at the same position. One ball took 18 seconds and another ball took only 12 seconds to do the same task. So we can equate both the distances travelled by both the balls. To find out the distance travelled by any accelerating body, we have third equation of motion. Okay, so using this third equation of motion for both the cases, we can write like this equation. For first case, we can use a equal to 10, v0 equal to 0 and time t equal to 18 seconds. So v0 equal to 0, that is why first value becomes 0 plus half of acceleration is 10 and time is 18 seconds. Half of 10 into 18 square must be equal to distance travelled by the second ball. Here v0 is v, time is 12 seconds as we discussed here. Time is 12 seconds plus half into acceleration is 10 and time is again 12 seconds, t square. If you solve this particular equation, here you can see only v is unknown, that is initial velocity of the second ball. So solving this equation, we can come up to the solution. So this will give you v equal to 75 meter per second, and option A is correct option. The distance travelled by a particle starting from rest and moving with an acceleration 4 by 3 meter per second square in the third second is. By reading this statement, we can understand that we are interested to find out the distance traveled in third second only. Here we can see the animation for this. This ball is traveling. So x1 is the distance traveled in first 2 seconds, whereas x2 is the distance traveled in total 3 seconds. And we need to find out only distance traveled in third second. That means we need to find out x2 minus x1. From the statement, it is given that acceleration equal to 4 by 3 meter per second square. The particle is starting from the rest, that is why initial velocity is 0 and time is 2 seconds and 3 seconds. Using this, we can individually find out x1 and x2, and then we will subtract these two values to get the distance traveled in only third second. To find out distance, it is x equal to v0t plus half of at square. Here we will use time t equal to 2 seconds to find out x1 distance and time t equal to 3 seconds to find out total x2 distance. So to find out x1, we will put the values that we know. Here v0 is 0, that is why this term will become 0. Acceleration is 4 by 3 and time is 2, that is 2 square. So if you solve this, you will get x1 will be equal to 8 by 3. Similarly, if you use the equation for calculating x2, you will use time equal to 3 seconds and x2 will be equal to 0 plus half of 4 by 3 into 3 square. And if you solve this equation, you will get x2 equal to 6 and x2 minus x1 will be equal to 10 by 3. So option A is correct. A stone falls freely under gravity. It covers distances h1, h2 and h3 in the first 5 seconds, the next 5 seconds and the next 5 seconds respectively. The relation between h1, h2 and h3 is. 4 options are given. We need to find out the relation between h1, h2 and h3. It means stone is falling for 15 seconds, and because speed is increasing under gravity, distance travelled in every next 5 seconds will be greater. Here we can see in the animation. So h1 is smaller than h2 and h2 is smaller than h3 because speed is increasing. Here what we know is acceleration due to gravity will be equal to g, that is not given. Initial velocity is 0 and time for initial 5 seconds will be 5 seconds. So we can find out h1 by using third equation of motion. So let us put the values in this third equation of motion. So it becomes, because v0 is equal to 0, this term becomes 0 and time is 5 seconds where acceleration is g. So this total value, if you calculate, it will be equal to 25 g divided by 2. So similarly, we can find out the value for h2 also. For h2, now we can see the ball is traveling for 5 plus 5, 10 seconds. That means total time for this event will be equal to 10 seconds. Now putting this particular 10-second value in again the third equation of motion, we will get this equation, because again v0 initial velocity is 0, total time is 10 seconds and acceleration due to gravity is same again, that is g. So h1 plus h2 will be equal to 100 g by 2, and if you put the value for H1, that is 25G by 2 in this equation, the H2 will be equal to 75G by 2. The steps are given, you can see all the steps in detail, you will understand. Similarly, for calculating the value for H3, we can use the time equal to 15 seconds. Here we can see the time for H1 plus H2 plus H3, total distance will be equal to 15 seconds. That is why we are getting this. H1 plus H2 is 100G by 2 and half of G into 225, that is the square of 15. Here we get H3 will be equal to 125G by 2. Now, after looking at these three equations, this H1, H2 and H3, we can understand that H2 is 3 times H1 and H3 is 5 times H1, and this option is given in D. So D is the correct answer.